I remember receiving my first letter from my son a few years back. Scribbled on it were the words, "I love you." I was so happy. I cried. Just kidding. After the events of Tekken 6, the war between the Mishima Zaibatsu and G-Corp rages on, even with Jin Kazama still missing. A journalist that lost everything to the war begins to investigate the Mishima family history in order to expose it to the public eye. We then get a flashback to a 5-year-old Kazuya versing Heihachi in a 1-2. Angered by the death of his mother, Kazumi Hachijo, young Kazuya tries his best to avenge his mother, but gets no round browned and thrown off a cliff. Salty as hell, Kazuya survives a fall, setting the Tekken series in motion. Heihachi returns from his life of isolated training to reclaim the leaderless Mishima Zaibatsu. After defeating Nina Williams, Heihachi announces himself to be the leader of the Mishima Zaibatsu one more time in another King of Iron Fist tournament. From G-Corp headquarters, Kazuya watches the announcement, not surprised to see his father had survived the explosion at Mishima Estate. Heihachi and Nina set out to find a man called Claudio Serafino, who is the leader of the Serious Marksmen organization, a society of exorcists based in Italy. Heihachi wishes the Zaibatsu and the Serious Marksmen join forces, which Claudio declines. After defeating his henchman and Claudio, Heihachi shows him a picture of Kazuya's devil form, which convinces him to join, as it shows they have similar ambitions. Heihachi plans to use the Serious Marksmen underground network to expose Kazuya's true form to the world and ruin G-Corp's public image. Claudio receives intel that there is something inhuman in the Far East. Meanwhile, Jin has been found and captured by United Nations soldiers. He is being transported to the United Nations HQ when he does a character switch to Devil Jim and blasts the helicopter. He continues to wander the desert, blasting a group of United Nations soldiers that catch him along the way. He then reaches a market where he is once again met with more United Nations soldiers. Lars Alexanderson comes to rescue Jin, defeating a handful of soldiers before driving off to Violet Systems. The Zaibatsu soon discover that Jin had been recovered, and Claudio ponders as he originally suspected his intel was of Jin. Later, the journalist finds that Kazumi's death, the Mishima Zaibatsu hostile takeover, and 5-year-old Kazuya being thrown off a cliff happened all in the same year. He runs into Li Chaolang, owner of the company Violet Systems. Li explains to the journalist that he is the adoptive son of Heihachi Mishima. He also said that Kazuya's blood cursed the Mishima household. After successfully repairing Eliza from the battle she had in Tekken 6, Lee and Eliza set out to see Lars when the facility gets attacked by Tekken forces. Soon after, Heihachi is found meditating in his dojo when Akuma shows up. The intel that Claudio had received was actually of Akuma. The two begin to battle, but are interrupted as a group of Jack robots sent by G-Corp blasts through the building. The two of them team up to defeat the Jack robots. Tekken Tag 3 confirmed. After easily disposing of the robots, Akuma tells Heihachi that he made a promise to Kazumi that he would kill Heihachi and Kazuya for her, as she has once saved his life. Clearly, Heihachi did not know the matchup and gets hit by the rage art. Akuma defeats Heihachi, causing a massive explosion in the Mishima dojo. Akuma assumes Heihachi is dead and leaves. Lee and Eliza escape to another facility where they meet up with Lars. Well, that was strange and uncomfortable. The three watch over Jin recovering from his battle with Azazel when more Tekken forces attack. They manage to hold off the attack, but Nina shows up, blasting Eliza out of the building. Nina calls a helicopter to capture Jin, but luckily Lee hijacks the helicopter and blows up the facility as Lars and Eliza escape. Nina is the only survivor. The reporter is then introduced to Lars by Lee. He explains to the reporter that he's the illegitimate child of Heihachi, and he was only born to prove that he did not carry the devil gene, even though Heihachi didn't even know Lars existed until Lars found him in Tekken 6 #FindingGameLore. Lars also tells the reporter that Jin is the key in ending the war. Heihachi did not die in the fight with Akuma and returns to the Zaibatsu. There, he gets them to cancel the tournament and make a fake announcement of his death. With many believing that Heihachi is dead, news circulates the globe. Has the war ended? Many eyes turn to G-Corp. Meanwhile, Heihachi is secretly planning to use this to his advantage, knowing Kazuya will have to use his devil form in his battle with Akuma, and he was right. Akuma arrives at G-Corp to fight Kazuya. And when he finally transformed, the Zaibatsu live broadcasts this to the world before blowing up G-Corp HQ with a giant laser from a space satellite. The world leaders gathered to discuss the new information. The world was left in shock and the favor had turned to the Zaibatsu. To nobody's surprise, Kazuya lived and took out one of the Mishima satellites to make it seem like they took it down themselves. The crash of the satellite created even more destruction and anti-Mishima groups began to grow. This caused the journalists to threaten the Mishima HQ by exposing the truth about the Mishima family. He was not taken seriously until a few hours later he was taken to Heihachi himself. There, Heihachi agrees for the journalists to reveal the truth, so as long as he tells his side of the story as well. Kazumi first arrived to Jinpachi's dojo to train under him. Heihachi and Kazumi trained frequently together, eventually becoming closer. In time, they became inseparable and Kazuya was born. Kazumi loved Kazuya very much. Everything seemed well until one training session, Kazumi collapses with a fever. She wakes up trying to kill Heihachi. He defends himself, and when Kazumi wakes up after the fever subsides, has no memory of the incident and continues on as normal. This continues on for a while until one night Kazumi reveals that one day Heihachi will be a threat to the world, and the only reason why she married into the family is so she can kill him, turning into her devil form. Heihachi defeats her, but she tries to attack again as he walks away. He grabs her by the neck. Kazumi attempts to pull on Heihachi's heartstrings, saying, "If you love me, release me." He replies with, "You are no longer my Kazumi," as he snaps her neck. Kazumi's lifeless body falls onto the ground as you see a tear running down the side of Heihachi's face. That night, Heihachi snaps Kazumi's neck, but something snapped inside him. Discovering that Kazumi carried the devil gene is the reason why Heihachi threw Kazuya off a cliff when he was young, testing to see if he also carried the devil gene. The reporter is then escorted out of the building as Heihachi asks if he hated him for the death of his family. The reporter was surprised that Heihachi knew about this and was told he knew all about his collaboration with Lars. The reporter then asks one final question.
What does this war mean to you?
Heihachi prepares for his final battle with Kazuya. A fight is about who's left standing, nothing else, were his words before we see them both in Devil's Pit for the grand final. Rock and lava part as these two powerful forces clash. Eventually, we get to the championship match. Starting off with a trade. Kazuya gets the counter hit but drops the combo. No sign of any block punishment from either of them. Do that again. That is some massive recovery right there. It looks like he's going for the key charge. Do you think this will pay off, Steve?
Ugh.
Thanks, Steve. Kazuya eventually emerges victorious and throws Heihachi into the lava as he says, "A fight is about who's left standing, nothing else." Akuma arrives shortly after to finish where he started, with the outcome unknown. With the world left in ruin, Lars, Eliza, and Lee watch over the destroyed city. Jin awakens ready to face Kazuya and end the war. What do you think of Tekken 7's story? Did you like how they gave reasons to justify Heihachi's actions from the previous games, making him seem more like the protagonist? I think it would be kinda interesting to speculate what kind of person Heihachi would have been had not Kazumi betrayed him. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.